Do not adjust your sets. I promise you, your eyes are working. We're not in the regular studio. I'm actually in a different studio working some things out. But happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hopefully, you had a great Thanksgiving. I've had a pretty good Thanksgiving so far, and it's not over yet. Of course, we all know second helpings sometimes better than the first. So enjoy your second helpings as well. Football is actually happening right now. The Egg Bowl, Mississippi State at Ole Miss, and rumors are flying about Lane Kiffin. This seems like it could be his last game as the head coach of Ole Miss. So that's the rumors that of what I've been hearing. So we'll see. What I heard was that he's supposed to announce after the Egg Bowl. I don't know if it's immediately after the Egg Bowl or tomorrow or next week. I don't know, but that's what I'm hearing. He's supposed to be headed over to Auburn, and then Ole Miss is going to have a vacancy. Could Ole Miss give Hugh Freeze a second chance? I don't know. West Virginia wants Hugh Freeze. Well, at least West Virginia fans. Before we go on any further, real quick, my brother is starting his own marketing business. And what he's going to do is he's going to help people learn how to market themselves, a YouTube channel, a product, whatever you want to get out there to let people know, hey, look at what I got. You'll want it. Come get it. And that's what my brother's doing. He's going to be starting a YouTube channel. So we will promote his YouTube channel on my YouTube channel. He doesn't have any videos up yet, but stay tuned. We will keep you up to date on that as well. So keep that in mind. Keep that in the back of your head, because leading into the new year, here's our slogan, guys. The new year, new dude. I can't give it all away. I'm not going to give it all away, but there's going to be a lot of new stuff coming here to Gold and Blue, and it's going to be bigger and better and newer. So new year, new dude. Speaking of which, the title of the video, right? I'm going to be honest. I think Neal Brown has done whatever he's going to do. I think he's at the end of his rope. I think he's done whatever he can do. I don't think it's been a good fit for him. And I think it's time for West Virginia to move on from Neal Brown. I really do. I know there's a buyout because of stinking Shane Lyons giving him an extension and a buyout after a 6-4 season. 6-4, who does that? Shane Lyons, that's who does that. He got fired last week. And a lot of people thought that maybe that was pointing towards, hey, we're going to fire Neal Brown as well. Might not be the case. In fact, ESPN is saying that Neal Brown will be the head coach in 2023. Oh man. I'm not liking the sound of that. If that's true, I am not gonna be happy about that, guys. I am not gonna be happy about. You think you've seen a mad going to Bluton in the past? You ain't seen nothing yet. By the way, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. Even if you don't like me, you don't like West Virginia, whatever, just do us a favor, hit the like button. That's what helps these videos hit the YouTube algorithm. And the more you hit that algorithm, it gets suggested more people see it and click on it, and boom, that's how you grow your audience. So you're not just helping me, you're also helping yourself. And also, if you have a comment that you want everybody to see and you want me to address, super chat. Super chat gets my attention. Anything you put in that super chat goes on the screen, right where you see my name, Golden Bluetooth on the screen. It's that little dollar sign that you see on the bottom right-hand corner. And, of course, it's a great way to support the channel. We appreciate all the donations you guys have given. And it's what keeps us going. Not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and BS you and lie and make up stories. Stuff like that, donations like that, it's what helps us keep going, because I do this 7 days a week. Sometimes, true story, sometimes I forget what day of the week it is because I do the same thing every day. Is this a third? The only reason I know this is a Thursday is because it's Thanksgiving. Seriously, sometimes my days get mixed up like that. The Neal Brown situation, though, look, his first season, his first year, we went 5-7, right? Well, he was left with the bear covered. So I gave him a pass. I think everybody gave him a pass. I actually thought that 5-7 was overachieving for what we had. And then, of course, 2020, we went 6-4, and everything did look better. I will say that everything did look better. And the defense was elite in 2020. It was elite, but it still didn't warrant an extension, a huge buyout, a pay raise, especially in year two. Here's what we're seeing, folks. We're seeing a lot of coaches have a great year or a better year, either a great year in year one or a better year in year two. And we're seeing these huge pay raises, contract extensions, and then they fall flat on their face. Example number one, 2020, Dan Mullen. He had a great looking offense at Florida, but the defense looked terrible. What happened? They got absolutely drilled in their bowl game. Oh, well, that was just, people getting used to their new positions because the starter set, blah, blah, blah. I tried to warn Florida fans. This is the team that you're going to see in 2021. Florida didn't listen. Florida extended Dan Mullen and gave him a pay raise. What happens? They flop in 2021. They had to fire him, and they ate a bunch of money. Last year, the coach for Michigan State had a great year. One of the best years that Michigan State had in a long time. But if you looked at the season, their defense was bad. And every time Kenneth Walker, their running back, was injured, their offense wasn't very good either. Well, I knew that he was moving on to the NFL this year, so I knew that Michigan State was going to take a significant step backwards this year. Michigan State didn't want to hear it. No, man, this guy's, he's got us on the up and up. We expect to be just as good, maybe even better than last year. What happens? Before I speak, I don't want to misspeak. So hold on, guys. Hold on. Let's look at. Dadgummit. Let's look at their record real quick. All right, here we go. So Big Ten. So Michigan State is 5-6. They might miss a bowl. That's what I'm talking about. But Michigan State fans didn't want to believe me. Will Petrie, $20 super chat. Great donation. Hashtag FIRE Neal Brown. And good to have you over to my studio for once, bro. Yes, that's right. I'm actually in my brother's studio. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Mentioning his marketing business. I'm telling you, if there's a guy that can get you running, it is my brother. And I will be talking about him more, so get used to it. I agree. It is time to fire Neal Brown. And this is not... He's a good guy, all right? So it's not like I'm mad at him. It's not like I'm, I have a vendetta or a grudge against him or, I'm kicking him to the curb. He just didn't fit West Virginia. One thing that I said, listen to this. One thing that I said in one of my previous videos was he might have to take the Luke Fickell route. What happened to Luke Fickell? Well, he got a chance at Ohio State, didn't do very well. Now, his stint only lasted a year, I believe. And, then he had to go to Cincinnati, and he's had tremendous success. What's happened? He's the hottest name in the group of 5 conference coaches. That might be the route that Neal Brown needs to take. He might have to go back to the group of 5, build his reputation back up, and then be the hottest name in a group of 5, conference coaching situation. And that wouldn't mean that West Virginia made the wrong decision by firing Neal Brown. It just means he wasn't ready yet. Sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes that's the route you got to take. I mean that's real life we're talking about, not just football coaching. Sometimes you get that promotion, you fail, you got to go back to the minor leagues, and then you get called back up. That's life. So I do think that there's a future for Neal Brown. I just don't think he was ready right now. If you look at his coaching tenure before West Virginia, he had a lot of assistant coaching, but as far as head coaching, like 3 or 4 years at Troy, that was it. Maybe he just needs more experience before he's ready for the Power 5 level. So that's what I'm thinking. And we could be looking at a future Luke Fickell situation referring to Neal Brown. But as of right now, the morale of the fan base is probably at the all-time lowest. Maybe the only time that I've ever seen, speaking of, I'm seeing John Waffle and talk his Pitt, so I'm about to talk about Pitt. The only time that I've seen the morale of the West Virginia fan base lower than right now was after Pitt beat us in the Backyard Brawl in 2007 to knock us out of the national championship. Besides that, I have not seen the morale of the West Virginia fan base lower than what I've seen right now. Never. I've never seen West Virginia look as bad on the football field as we've looked this year. Now, I will say this. For the offense looks way better than what it did last year. I think we made some good decisions in the offseason. We brought in Graham Harrell. That attracted JT Daniels. And for the first 6 games of the year, JT Daniels looked great. But I think the wear and tear of the season, having a bad defense, not winning football games despite, putting up good numbers out there, kind of wore on him, and the morale started to get to him as well. So, even the offense has looked bad in the past 3 games. But if you look at the overall season, we still have a much better offense than what we did last year. The problem is our defense took such a massive step backwards. This was not a slight step back. Last year was a slight step back, but it was still a good enough defense to keep us in football games that we really had no business being in because our offense was bad. This year, the step back was absolutely significant. I have never seen a defense get this bad as far as since being a West Virginia fan. And I've seen a regress in defense before, but between last year and this year, it was like, what happened? Did we stop teaching our guys how to tackle? I think one of the biggest problems is as West Virginia fans, we got our hopes up in the offseason because we got big names like Jasir Cox and Marcus Floyd. Marcus Floyd was an All-American at Murray State. Jasir Cox was a beast at North Dakota State. But the problem with these guys they are FCS size. They were good at the FCS level, so I'm not trying to throw shade on them or anything like that, but their size did not translate to the FBS level. So you combine, size or lack of size all over the field, not just like 1 or 2 places. Defensive line is maybe the only group that had size on them. The rest of our defense just did not have size. I mean, if you watch a game, you can tell the difference between the size of our defense and the size of the opposing defense. It's not even fair. And then you add on top of that, it looks like people don't know where they're supposed to be. Receivers are just running wide open. We had to switch the defensive scheme altogether. It's not working anymore. From my understanding, the type of defense that we run at West Virginia as of right now is sort of a pass it off type of defense, zone defense. Like, I cover him up to this point, and then for a certain stretch, he's double teamed, but then I'm passing it off to you. So it's basically a zone defense, and it's not working. I think with the speed, because West Virginia does have speed on the defense, with speed, you have to run man. You have to run more man. And I think that's, one of the reasons why we're seeing people enter the transfer portal as well, because the defense that we're running out there it's not working. And maybe the biggest problem at West Virginia is the budget for the football program. And this goes back to Rich Rod era. From what I heard, the reason Shane Lyons was fired was because the budget for the football was not being used properly. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of crazy things about Shane Lyons. I'm not putting much stock into any specific thing, but I'm hearing this and that, and he wanted to build a new press box and put his name on it, and he was already talking to Alabama, and that's why we got rid of him, and all this other stuff. So I don't know exactly which one of those is true and which one of those is not. But it was not a good situation. He needed to be fired. That's the way I'll put it. A lot of shady stuff. A shady shadow surrounded Shane Lyons. How about that for alliteration? Shady shadow around Shane Lyons. Yeah, it wasn't looking good. So yeah, we needed to fire him. Question is, are we going to start using the football money for what it needs to be used for. What I'm talking about is going out and getting a good coaching staff. There is no reason. There is absolutely no reason. I don't want to hear it. There is no reason why West Virginia can't pay their coaching staff what Liberty or Cincinnati or UCF, and the list goes on. We should be able to outpay those people. We have got to get out of this penny pinching mentality. I am sick of it. And I am not saying that Neal Brown deserves that type of money. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we need to move on from Neal Brown, and we need to be willing to pay for a good coach. What did I say earlier? This goes back to Rich Rod, right? The reason why Rich Rod left West Virginia is because he asked for a pay raise for himself and his assistant coaches, a pay raise that was within the budget, a pay raise that he knew West Virginia had. The reason Rich Rod asked for what he asked for is because he knew that West Virginia had it. And then West Virginia proved once again that they wanted a penny pinch. They said, no, sir. He moved on. He could see the writing on the wall that West Virginia wasn't willing to invest into their coaching staff. And if that doesn't change, West Virginia will be forever just a stepping stone, because that's what we are right now. This is not the 1980s or the 1990s anymore. It's not. You're not going to find that Don Nehlen out there who, gives us a great season, a chance, at least a shot to get to the playoffs or national championship every 4 years. He's not out there. As soon as he starts having success at West Virginia's going to have to pony up the dough, which they're not going to, and he'll move on. So until we start committing to the football program and we start competing with Power 5 salary, I'm not talking like Texas salary or Alabama salary or Clemson salary, but $7 million a year, West Virginia can do that. We have some great boosters out there. The owner of the Arizona Diamondbacks is a great West Virginia booster. And he's come out and said, yes, I'm willing to help fund a coaching staff that's going to require a bump in pay as long as we win. The West Virginia fan base, we want to win. That's what we want. And if we keep penny pinching and try to, hopefully this group of 5 coaching staff, we're going to pay them around $4 million. Hopefully that works out. And even if they start having success, maybe we'll bump them up to $5 million. Maybe that'll keep them at West Virginia. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So what I'm hoping is, and from what I'm hearing from other West Virginia channels, from the sources that I'm talking to that's close to the situation, West Virginia knows who this next athletic director is going to be. So hopefully whoever that is looks at the situation and realizes we're not going to win with the current system that we have. This isn't just about coaching. This is about the entire system, the entire football system at West Virginia. It is broken. It's broken, and it needs to be fixed. And we need to be willing to spend the money. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And then we have these separate groups that are, funding the NIL. So that's getting taken care of. West Virginia needs to be prepared for this new phase of college football. Otherwise, we're going to get left behind. And it's not like we don't have the money, because West Virginia does have the money. We just have to learn how to use it. That's what the bottom line is right now. And I think that Neal Brown has done all he can do. I wish nothing but the best. But it's time for West Virginia to move on from Neal Brown. And a lot of people are saying one more year. And I'm just, man, that's not settling with me very well. Because they don't realize that as West Virginia fans, we have to put up with the inbred jokes. We have to put up with, the Big East was a group of 5 conference anyways. That's why y'all won it. Now when you're up with the big boys, you can't win in the Big 12. I mean, the nonsense never stops. And if we keep going this route, we're going to have to keep putting up with it. And there's nothing we can say to defend it, because they're freaking right. Even though they're troll attempts, it's like, what can I say? Because, yeah, you're right. We suck. 4-7, no chance of going to a bowl. We have regressed. We had one decent year in 2020, the COVID year, where we had an elite defense, got to a bowl. beat Army, and that's how we got 6-4. But ever since, we've been sliding. So we're gonna have to, if we keep doing. That's what they don't understand. As West Virginia fans, they keep doing this. We're gonna have to keep putting up the nonsense that we put up with all the freaking time. People have forgotten how good West Virginia was, or how West Virginia can be, because ever since we've been in the Big 12, we've been mediocre at best. We had a couple good years under Dana Holgerson. We had the 10-win season when we had Skylar Howard as our starting quarterback, right? Then, of course, 2018. There is no reason why we should have went 8-4 that year. We should have been a 10-win team that year as well. But of course, Dana Holgerson couldn't field a halfway decent defense, and it's just, I am grateful for being in the Big 12, but it has not been a good fit for West Virginia. And I'm not blaming it completely on travel either, because I understand, airplanes, it only takes an hour or so to get there. So, but it still wears on the teams. And it's not just the football teams. All these teams have to travel. And teams coming to Morgantown, they only have to make that trip 1 or 2 times a year. For West Virginia, we're having to make that halfway across the country, travel pretty much every road game. Our closest road game is Iowa State. And when whenever the Big 12 expanded and accepted Cincinnati, UCF, BYU, and Houston, the only team that helps with West Virginia travels is freaking Cincinnati. That's it. What about UCF? Yeah, that's down in Florida. That's about the same distance as to Iowa State. So it doesn't really help with that. John Waffle HGP, thank you for the donation, says, according to the Wall Street Journal, WVU is dead last in Power 5 with 19 million revenue. Yeah, I saw that as well. I don't know exactly what they're taking into account. Might be the travels that's hurting the revenue, and that kind of goes into, not fitting into the Big 12. And West Virginia has signed a new grant of rights for the Big 12, so looks like we're sticking in the Big 12 to at least 2031. So my hope is that those 8 members, that everybody's saying that those 8 members needed to vote to disband the ACC are there. They have that the 8 teams that are needed to vote to disband the ACC and get rid of the grant of rights. I'm really hoping that that's true, because we really need to play our rivals every year, because that also would help with our revenue. People love watching the backyard brawl. That was one of the highest grossing Thursday night games the entire year, was the backyard brawl, first game of the year. So you add in the backyard brawl, make that an in-conference game of the Big 12. You bring in Louisville. Remember the great battles we have. And you're not just adding revenue of these teams into the conference. You're adding the revenue of all these different rivalries. And yes, I would consider West Virginia and Louisville a rivalry, even though it wasn't that long of a rivalry. There was some awesome games. There's like several overtime games that went down to the wire. And I've talked to Louisville fans. They definitely want to play West Virginia again. So bring in Louisville, bring in Pitt, of course, bring in Syracuse. Virginia Tech, I don't know if Virginia Tech's doable, because I do think that the Big Ten and the SEC are interested in Virginia Tech, and of course they would take that bid over the Big 12. But if you can't get Virginia Tech, then a nice consolation prize would be NC State, right? I mean, NC State has a good brand. They bring in a lot of revenue, good travel. As a West Virginia fan, another thing that everybody has to take into consideration for the West Virginia fan base is, as a West Virginia fan, I can't really go to any road games because I live in the upstate of South Carolina. Yes, there's West Virginia fans all over the entire United States. It's a top 25 or a top 30 fan base as far as fan size goes. But we're mostly on the East Coast. So traveling to these road games, almost impossible, to be honest with you. Almost impossible. So if we were to add, 4 teams out of the ACC, I could start going to road games again. This was the first road game I've been to, as far as the backyard brawl this year, that I've been to since we were in the Big East. I'm just not able to go. They're too far away. So adding all those teams from the ACC would help the fan base as well, as far as our morale. So there's things that can be done. and I'm really hoping that that's true because we did sign the grant of rights, so West Virginia is staying in the Big 12 till 2031. Hopefully, the downfall of the ACC is just around the corner, and I think there's a lot of stock you can put into that because the teams that are in the ACC, they love being in the ACC, but they don't like looking at all these conferences and seeing these lower brands. I know y'all get on to me about using that term too much, but I mean, it is what it is. Seeing the lower brands make more money than what they do. I mean, how would you feel being Clemson basically shouldering the load of the ACC and watching a Vanderbilt or Kentucky in football, a South Carolina, ooh, their rival in the SEC, or a Northwestern, a Rutgers in the Big Ten making more money than you do? Wouldn't sit well, would it? It wouldn't sit well. So I think in the next conference realignment, the ACC will be in the biggest trouble because I do think that those, I mean, off the top of your head, you know that Clemson, North Carolina, Florida State, Virginia, that's 4 right there for sure. You could add in a Virginia Tech. You could add in a Miami. That's 6 right there. So if the Big 12 can say, hey, Pitt, hey, Syracuse, hey, Louisville, hey, NC State, boom, 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 that's 10 teams right there. Notre Dame has a vote. And I don't understand why the ACC gave them a vote. So you're giving a vote to a program who's not even a full-time football member, and they're still a member of the Big Ten in some other sports. You're giving them a vote in the future of your conference. What are you thinking, ACC? What are you thinking? That I don't think that was very wise at all. So Notre Dame could be one of those 8 teams as far as voting to dissolve the ACC. I think they're there. And if that happens, the Big 12 better get those 4 teams. At least the 3 teams that I mentioned first. Pitt, Syracuse, and Louisville. Because I don't think that the Big 10 or the SEC will want those 3 teams. And those would be great additions for the Big 12. Those rivalries would bring in a lot of money for the Big 12. I mean, especially the Syracuse fan base. I've talked to Syracuse fans, and they said, yeah, we've missed that. You know, that's a rivalry that a lot of people don't talk about is West Virginia Syracuse. I remember whenever West Virginia was really good and Syracuse not so good. Doesn't matter. We go to the Dome, upset city time. I hated playing in that Dome. I hated it. And you could go vice versa. West Virginia bad, Syracuse good, upset in Morgantown, touchdown city, you know? So, yeah, that's an underrated rivalry. And what I'm not getting is the ACC is definitely not maximizing the revenue potential of the of Syracuse, because Syracuse, this blew me away. I didn't realize this until Tony Altimore did a presentation on this. Syracuse has the largest football fan base, if you don't count Notre Dame, in the ACC. What? Yeah, over 3 million. That surprised the heck out of me. So there is money to be made with Syracuse. You bring them into the Big 12, and they're still playing Pitt. That's another rivalry that they love to play. Louisville, and then you're bringing in West Virginia as far as, you know, Syracuse playing a rivalry, and boom, interest in the fan base of Syracuse, and some Midwest interest, some teams you haven't played. So I do think that the Big 12 could, you know, pull in some more revenue from Syracuse that maybe the ACC is not doing. And then basketball is a whole separate discussion because it doesn't really affect conference realignment. But if they were to come in, the Big 12 would, without a doubt, be the best basketball conference in the entire nation. I know Pitt doesn't help very well because they have a very, very bad basketball program right now. But Syracuse and Louisville, you talk about moneymakers in basketball, those two are top 10. Top 10. Big fan bases, big stadiums. Louisville has I think Louisville has the largest basketball only arena. I think they hold like 18,000, something like that. And then, of course, Syracuse has the largest overall because they use the Carrier Dome as a multi-purpose. and they can get like 30,000 in a Syracuse home basketball game. So yeah, the Big 12 would be head and shoulders the best basketball conference out there. And then, of course, you're bringing in Cincinnati and Houston. Houston on the up and up. Cincinnati is an established power in basketball. There you go. The best basketball conference in the nation. Pretty good football conference as well. So, oh, guys. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. Oh. A lot of conversations going on between sources and other sources about whether Neal Brown is going to be fired or not fired. And it's a good point, too. A lot of people are saying that ESPN wants West Virginia to fail. And if you think about it, that actually does kind of make sense. I mean, they want anybody in the Big 12 to fail because they don't have the TV rights to the Big 12. So that makes sense, too. I don't know. But as far as West Virginia goes, it is time right now. Not another year, not another month. I don't care if the buyout goes down again another 3 or 4 games into next year's season. Listen, the buyout goes down at the end of this season, right? We've suffered through it. We've gotten through it. So it's going to go down to 13.5. That can be negotiated down to 11 or 12 probably. So the time is right now. The time is right now. And, you know, if it turns out he ends up taking the Luke Fickell route and he ends up having success in the future at a Power 5, that does not mean that West Virginia made the bad choice. It just means that Neal Brown was not ready right now. That's all that means. Okay, so don't second guess ourselves on that. And a lot of West Virginia fans are not liking this suggestion right here. I am fine with bringing back Rich Rod. Seriously, no, I do not like how Rich Rod left West Virginia, but the reason he left, I'm fine with. I understand it now. West Virginia has been not fully committed to football. How, as a West Virginia fan, that is crazy to think about. But those are facts. West Virginia University is not all in football. Clemson is all in. That's even their motto, and they're proving it with the renovations they did in the West End Zone, the new jumbotron, the salary that they pay their coaches, right? And West Virginia, who up until the Dabo Swinney era, well, even the Orange Bowl, post Kevin Steele era, how about that? Had a better football tradition than Clemson. Clemson did have a national championship in, 1980. But besides that, West Virginia had a higher winning percentage. Ever since Dabo got rid of Kevin Steele, defensive coordinator, and they've had the success that they've had, Clemson has been all in, and West Virginia has been regressing. That is unacceptable. That's unacceptable. How are they okay with that? How is West Virginia okay with that? I don't get it, guys. I really don't. This makes absolutely no sense. Are they telling us that they don't care if we win or not? That's the message that I'm getting. If you're not all in on something, then it's like, if we win, we win. If not, we'll figure something out. We're okay with 8-4, 9-3 on a good year, getting to a bowl, suffer through the bad years, get back to an 8-4, 9-3. That's basically what we did under Dana Holgorsen, right? We had 1 10-win season. 2018, we had a chance to have a pretty good year. We ended up going 8-4, and that's with a canceled road trip to NC State because of that hurricane. We probably would have been 8-5. Yeah, 8-5. No, 7-5. Excuse me. I think we went 7-4 that year because one of those games was canceled. I have to go back and look at the total. Bottom line is we would have ended up with another loss because we were a terrible road team that year. I mean, Iowa State was not good, and they absolutely clocked us on the road that year. So add in another road game to NC State, another loss. So a year worse. And that's when we had great talent at West Virginia. Is that what West Virginia University is okay with now? That's my question. Are we okay with mediocrity, getting to bowls? That's it. Never being. Well, 2011 doesn't count because it was his first year. We were still in the Big East, and that 10th win actually came in an Orange Bowl. So I really don't count that season. I'm talking about regular season, 10-win regular season. And those were not his recruits. He had that's another thing. He actually underachieved in 2011 because he had NFL talent all over that team, and we still ended up barely a 10-win team. So, yeah, that was another underachievement by Dana Holgorsen. I don't want to hear anything from anybody as far as bringing back Dana Holgorsen. That is wrong answer. Not going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. That would be a terrible, terrible rehire. No, not okay with that at all. Even Houston fans are like, take him off our hands, please. We made a mistake. Houston fans are telling me that right now. So anybody I understand that on paper and with wins and losses, it looks like we did better under Dana Holgorsen. But the reason why we got in the position that we're in the first place is because of Dana Holgorsen. All right. Neal Brown couldn't get us out of the ditch, but guess who put us in the ditch? That's right, Dana Holgorsen, because he couldn't recruit worth the crap, and he depended on transfers all over the place. Transfers. No, thank you. I do not want Dana Holgorsen back here at West Virginia again. No, that's not even a, let me think about it. I'm on the fence. No, I am not on the fence with Neal Brown. That is Neal Brown. Dana Holgorsen either. Not on the fence. That's a no. Rich Rod is another story. And I understand people don't like how he left. I understand it. I get it. Trust me. I get it. I understand that. But the reason he left was because he asked West Virginia to invest more in their football program because he knew that West Virginia had the money, and West Virginia said no. That set the tone right there. When West Virginia said no, we do not want to invest more into our football program. That set the tone from that year all the way up until now. We have seen it year after year after year after year. West Virginia keeps proving it. They don't want to invest what they need to invest in football, and we're getting passed by. So my question is this. If West Virginia has dug its heels in and has decided this is the limit, $5 million. We're not going to $7 million or anything like that. $5 million. Is anybody going to work out? Will we ever get back to where we were in a playoff conversation? I don't think so. The economics they don't add up. I mean, the old saying is true, guys. You got to spend money to make money. And West Virginia is not spending money. And a lot of, I keep getting the same argument over, what the offense that Rich Rod brought was new. Now I'm sure people would catch on and it wouldn't be as good. That is exactly why I made the video about every time West Virginia has had a magical season, it has been with that offense. 1988, Major Harris, the first time we had a true dual threat quarterback, what happened? We were running that type of offense, spread RPO, dual threat quarterback, went to the national championship, lost to Notre Dame, but we got to the national championship. In 1993, we had a 2-quarterback system. One was Jake Kelchner. The other one was dual threat quarterback, Darren Studstill. Got to the Sugar Bowl with a chance, undefeated season, same as 88, with a chance to share the national championship, right? Fast forward to Rich Rod, right? Pat White. Consistent success that we've never seen before. Sure, we had been to the national championship before, but under Rich Rod, we were having double-digit win season after double-digit win season after double-digit win season. Over and over and over. Spread, RPO, dual threat quarterback. Dana Holgerson's best year at West Virginia was with Skyler Howard. What was he running? A spread RPO dual threat quarterback system. Whether you like that offense or not, that's not the question. Whether you think it's outdated or not, that's not the question. Whether you think defenses have adapted to it or not, that's not the question. That's not the issue. The issue is every time we've had great success, that's the offense that we've ran. Hello? That's the offense West Virginia needs. That's the offense that will bring us success again. Whether it's Rich Rod or another coach, I don't know. The only reason I mentioned Rich Rod was that's the type of offense that we ran under him. And that's the type of offense that West Virginia's always had success with. So, yes, I think Rich Rod would do fine at West Virginia. And I've gotten called every name in the book for that and turncoat and you're not a true West Virginia fan and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, whatever. I get it. But at the same time, we're not kids. All right. Well, some watching maybe kids. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about grown adults holding grudges. We're not kids. We're not in high school, okay? Grudges hold you back. That's one thing that I've learned in life. The only thing grudges do, it doesn't hurt the other person. It hurts yourself. You're holding yourself back. So what if holding a grudge against Rich Rod could literally be holding West Virginia back from potentially having great success again? I mean, you can apply this to everyday life. Somebody's done you wrong, you hold a grudge against them, and you're literally keeping yourself from reaching full potential because every time you think about that person, oh, I remember what they does nothing for you. John Waffle HCP, thank you for the donation, says, serious question. If you are saying that the administration is hurting the program, why don't you, WU fans, flood their emails with complaints and concerns? I like it. That is a great idea. Now, the only thing that I'll say about that, John Waffle, is it Gordon Gee that we send it to? Is it somebody else? We need to. This is why, this is why people have sources. You have to figure out where exactly the problem is coming from. Because if you're funneling in the complaints or whatever to the wrong person or the wrong direction, then it's going to do no good. So you do have to figure out where the change needs to be made. And that's what I'm trying to do. I know Shane Lyons was part of the problem, but does it go above him? Does it go to Gordon Gee? Does it go to somebody else? I'm not sure. So I actually agree with John Waffle. We should not be satisfied with what we're seeing. We should not be satisfied with West Virginia not being all in football. Why can't we be all in football? What's the reason? Where's the money going to? We have some great boosters. So that money has to be going somewhere. If it's not going to the football, I don't know. And from my understanding, some of these donations are earmarked for the football program, so they have to go to the football program. Are there loopholes to where they can make it seem like it goes to the football program and it's really not? I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs to all this. I really don't. So it needs to be figured out because West Virginia most definitely should be all in for football. I mean, we should be. So why we're not, I have no idea. But that's one thing we know for a fact. Even Rich Rod came out and said, hey, we knew they had the money. We knew what we needed to stay here, and West Virginia just wouldn't pony up. And it happened again with Dana Holgorsen. I'm thankful that West Virginia didn't pony up with Dana Holgorsen, but I'm using him as an example because it's a second example. It's not just throw all your eggs on Rich Rod. It happened to Rich Rod. That's only no. There's other examples. Dana Holgorsen is the second example. Dana Holgorsen also asked for a pay raise from West Virginia, a pay raise that he knew West Virginia could afford. West Virginia said no thanks. See ya, which I'm glad Don't get me wrong. I'm glad for that one. I'm just saying it's another example of a coach knowing that West Virginia has the income, the resources, the revenue to fund that pay raise, and West Virginia doesn't fit the bill. That has to change. It's unacceptable. That is unacceptable. We shouldn't have to be, well, I guess we're Stepping Stone University forever. West Virginia shouldn't have to be Stepping Stone University. It's the higher ups that are making West Virginia Stepping Stone University. I mean, it's such a helpless feeling. It's irritating. It's just flat out annoying. I don't expect to be the destination for like all-time great head coaches like Nick Saban or Dabo Sweeney or coaches like that. We got lucky with Don Nehlen. We can't count on that happening again. It's not going to happen again. Not in the day and age that we live in college football now. Things are changing. West Virginia has to adapt. That's not happening again, all right? It's not. So I'm not expecting like an all-time greatest football coach for West Virginia to be a destination. But why not a really good one at least? Why can't we go out and get a Hugh Freeze? I mean, Liberty's paying Hugh Freeze more than what we've paid our coaches. What? In what universe does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. That's stupid. Oh my gosh. We as fans have got to stop being okay with this. That's all I can say about it. We as fans, we have got to stop being okay with this. And I'm not saying, stop supporting the teams. I'm not even saying stop going to the games, because you don't want to hurt the recruiting. You don't want to hurt the team. You don't want to hurt the players. But there's got to be a way to send a message to these people, these higher ups, saying, this is not okay. We're not accepting this anymore. We can do better. We have to do better. We need to be all in. Dabo Sweeney literally changed the culture with the all-in slogan, the all-in foundation for Clemson. West Virginia needs a guy like that to open the eyes of, the administrators of West Virginia University. Whoever that is, that's who West Virginia needs, because for about 30 years, Clemson was spinning their wheels as well. I mean, they were almost in the same exact scenario as West Virginia is now. And, Dabo changed everything for Clemson. I mean, their football program is making money like crazy. But at the same time, they're investing money like crazy. You know how much money going to the playoffs makes for the university? Going to the national championship makes for the university? Winning a national championship makes for the university? You have to invest money to make money. So if you want to make that kind of money for West Virginia, getting to the playoffs, winning a playoff game, winning a New Year's Six bowl like we were under Rich Rod, winning a national championship, you're going to have to invest Power 5 money for a Power 5 level coaching staff to get us there. There is no way around it. There's not. I know that movie Moneyball was popular. And, it proved that you can do with less sometimes, but West Virginia can't. We tried it. It's not worked. All right. Moneyball does not work for West Virginia. We're going to have to spend some money if we want to get in the big leagues. We are getting left behind. The last 10 years have absolutely slaughtered West Virginia as far as us not investing, and the success or lack of success that mirrors that. What you see on the field is mirroring the investing that we're doing into the football program. Now, I will say this, West Virginia has done a great job of investing into the football facilities. West Virginia has one of the best football facilities in the Big 12. Even Brett Yormark said that. We do have some of the best football facilities in the Big 12. So we have invested in that aspect. But if you think about it, a football facility renovation investment is, finite. You invest, you do it, it's done until the next renovation, right? With the coaching staff, if you're going to invest in that, that's a yearly commitment. And I know there's the risk of Man, what if this doesn't work out? What if we give this guy a huge buyout? What if we give this guy a raise? What if we invest this in this guy and it doesn't work out? West Virginia is playing too safe. That's the problem, guys. You have to take risks if you want the reward. And we're not taking the risks. We're playing it safe. You know, giving these salaries of maybe upper echelon of group of five, but still group of five. I mean, this is pathetic. Straight up pathetic. I mean, it's not sustainable. And we have to be fed up with it. And, I'm not saying all this stuff to get West Virginia fans down. Oh, man, Golden Blue Dude's saying there's no hope. There is hope. If we can make the right decisions and if we can start investing, there is a lot of hope. We just have to start making the right decisions. So I'm hoping that whoever's in charge of, where the money goes for the football program, whether it's Gordon Gee, the new athletic director, I don't care. Whoever it is, get this message. West Virginia football is worth investing in. West Virginia football is worth being all in for. West Virginia football has some of the most loyal, passionate fan bases on planet Earth. But at some point, you do have to draw the line and say, hey, we're not getting anywhere doing what we're doing. It's time to do something different. And the time is right now. Right now. Well, in the past. We've passed it. Neal Brown, good luck to you. Not a good fit here anymore. I've heard that group of five teams are already interested in Neal Brown. So they know something's up. UAB has a coaching vacancy. They're interested in Neal Brown. And that's fine. He'll make a lot of money down there. He'll probably have success. He could take the Luke Fickell route, right? Come back strong, maybe be successful in the future. But right now, it's not working. And if and when we do move on from Neal Brown, we can't go that route anymore. We just now proved that doesn't work. We have to go after people that have had success at the Power 5 level. And, they're going to be asking for some money. And we have to be willing to pony up. I think Hugh Freeze would be a great addition at West Virginia. I've already talked about Rich Rod. Boo, go to Blue Dude, Rich Rod, no way. All right. Let's move on from Rich Rod. I'm okay with Rich Rod. A lot of West Virginia fans aren't. All right, let's talk about some other names. What about Hugh Freeze? Yes, scandal at Ole Miss. About 80% of that's now covered on the NIL. Now, he needs to stay away from the Cowgirls. That was not good. That was a bad look. And if you looked at what he's done at Liberty, he stayed away from it. So everybody deserves a second chance, right? And he's proven to be a model. What's it called? Whenever you're trying to. Dadgummit, I had the word. Not inmate, but somebody who you're trying to, build back up. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, he's been a model one of those. And I think he deserves a second chance. He had Power 5 success at Ole Miss. Ole Miss was a train wreck before Hugh Freeze. He built it up. Lane Kiffin has taken over, and he's doing good as well. So, yeah, it's time to take a chance. If Hugh Freeze, requires, I don't know, 6.5, $7 million a year, let's do it. Let's do it. Model citizen. I like it. See, I'm still keeping my eyes on the comment section. Even though I'm, I don't have time to read everyone, but I see one that pops out. There you go. Model citizen. I like it. Yes, model citizen. Not exactly the term I was thinking of. We'll roll with it. Hugh Freeze has had success at the Power 5 level. It's going to take some money to get him. So if you consider that a risk or taking a chance, that's about the safest bet there is right now, because he's actually proven that he can have success at any level. So as far as risks are concerned, he's one of the safest risks out there. So there you go. Let's see here. What about, who else is there? There's some other coaches on the Power 5 level, like Lance Leipold over there at Kansas. Lance Leipold, we're going to have to dig into our pockets a little bit deeper. I'm talking maybe like between 7 to 8 million, and I do think West Virginia could afford that. I think 8 million is right around the cap until we start having success and getting to the playoffs and winning. See, that's the path that Clemson laid out for everybody. They started getting to the playoffs. They started winning ACC. They started winning playoff games, getting to the national championship, winning the national championship, making more money, and then you can pay your coaches more. So that's how they're able to afford to pay Dabo what they paid Dabo. But starting off, I would say 8 million would be the cap for West Virginia. But Lance Leipold, that offense is absolutely 100% right down West Virginia's alley. He actually has several phases to his offense. He has a triple option, so the defense has to stay gap sound. You got to cover your A gap, B gap, C gap, right? On top of that, they run a spread RPO. So that quarterback, you got to keep an eye on him because he can pull in and run as well. Oh, they throw the ball well. And so you're having to, no one particular game plan is perfect for that offense. So defenses are having to adapt to it all the time. I think that's perfect for West Virginia. And that's the exact type of offense that West Virginia has had success. I've talked about it a lot today or this evening. And that offense fits perfectly into that. So I would say bring on Lance Leipold. I would like it. I like my top four. Okay, ready? Top four. Then I'll get out of here for you guys. I would say, and this is not counting Rich Rod because we'll talk about that another time. But I do include Rich Rod. Hugh Freeze, definitely number one, right? He's had success at multiple levels. I think he's learned his lesson as far as no-nos and what not to do. And I do think he would have immediate success at West Virginia. Most people didn't even realize that Liberty had a football team. The only reason I even knew about Liberty University is because my dad graduated from Liberty University. Other than that, I wouldn't even known they had a university. So Hugh Freeze, number one, right? Number two, probably Lance Leipold because he's proven that that offense can be effective immediately. And I do think that he would be able to recruit at a higher level at West Virginia. So he would have the offense and the athletes. And West Virginia has had success with that offense every time we've ran that. Okay. But as far I know that Leopold was extended. So is Hugh Freeze. There's always ways around that. The next one would be Tom Herman. Boo, go to Blue Dude. Yeah, I've gotten booed for that one. Listen, Tom Herman had success wherever he went as well. The only reason he was fired at Texas was because he didn't get along with the boosters. That's it. Liberty's mascot is the Flames, by the way. But for Tom Herman, dude can recruit at an incredible level, and we don't have the boosters that Texas has. So I don't think he would have an issue as far as getting along with our boosters. I think they would be just fine. All right. And finally, last of the top four would be Matt Roll. Matt Roll. Baylor was in a bad spot whenever Matt Roll took over, and immediately he brought them out. Now, there is a risk that Matt Roll will bolt once a bigger name comes a calling. I'm okay with that as long as he gets us out of the ditch. But that goes back to investing. Why can't we at least try to approach the money that some other program would offer? You're going to have to invest to keep these coaches who are going to have success at West Virginia. Otherwise, like I said before, Stepping Stone University, West Virginia University is Stepping Stone University right now. So we're going to have to pony up sometime. So there you go. My top four, not including Rich Rod, Hugh Freeze, Lance Leipold, Tom Herman, and of course, Matt Roll. I think all four of those would be great hires at West Virginia. And I think it would be immediate help. We wouldn't have to wait like 4 or 5 years. A 5-year plan. 5-year plan. In year 5, we'll be 7-5 going to a bowl. How about that? No. I think immediate success. All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up. Hopefully, y'all had a great Thanksgiving. So far, so good for me. I'm gonna have my midnight snack Thanksgiving. That's always good as well. If you haven't had your Thanksgiving seconds, what are you waiting on? That's sometimes that's even better than the first go around. So go get you some seconds as well. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed the live show. Make sure to hit the like button on the way out. Even though we're not gonna be live anymore, it still helps the video hit the YouTube algorithm, gets it views. You know, it is what it is. Certain things help the video. So on the way out, please hit the like button, and we'd greatly appreciate it. You're helping yourself on the way out. And don't forget, Inner Circle Marketing Studios. My brother will be starting a YouTube channel. It is a business. He will help you get whatever product you're trying to get out there visible, whether it's yourself, YouTube channel. Yes, he's going to help Golden Blue to get even more visible. We're doing well. Not going to lie. We're doing well. We're approaching 12,000 subscribers, but this is going to help Golden Blue even more. So, yes, we're going to be working with Inner Circle as well. So, if you have a business or a product or yourself, get a hold of him. I don't know if you can see all of his information because it's a little bit tiny. So, where's the glare? Almost got it. Almost got it. Well, I might have to read it off. Will at ICMS. ICMS is Inner Circle Market Studio. Will at ICMS.studio. Will at ICMS.studio. That's how you can find them. All right. I'm out of here, guys. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving. And if you're a West Virginia fan, it's time to stop being satisfied with mediocrity. It's time to be all in, just like Clemson. Clemson now has the all-in motto. Don't know. Why did I say motto? Have you ever noticed you just say things you don't even mean to say? Motto. Where did that come from? Motto. Anyways, West Virginia needs to be all in. This is unacceptable, people, all right? If you're a West Virginia fan, that is. All right, guys. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Regular videos as well, so don't forget about all that stuff.